Why is it so hard to love you? Hey everyone, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and look at this. This is the 2020 BMW M8 Competition Coupe. I don't know what the name of this color is, but it shouldn't be on this car. Look at it. It's like a screaming, look at me, I'm cool, I'm flashy, I want to be noticed sort of green. And it doesn't go at all with this coupe's super sexy flowing lines and low stance. This car in black looks absolutely menacing, and it has like dark kind of brown and reddish burgundy options. But this, I wasn't even able to find this color on BMW's build configurator. But what I can tell you is underneath the hood, way at the other end of these four exhaust tips, is a 4.4 liter twin turbocharged V8 engine pumping out 617 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. Made it up to the excellent ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. This powertrain is mwah. Back here you got a trunk. Bet you weren't expecting that, huh? Some net for shit. It's actually surprisingly deep, all jokes aside. And this is powered because of course it is, because this car costs something well over $150,000. On these awesome looking many spoke wheels. How many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Would you consider that 19 spoke? I'd say it's 19 spoke. 19 spoke wheels. You've got Pirelli P0 summer high performance tires. 285/35 20s in the rear. And I think it's, what is it, 265s in the front? Nope, 275/35 R20s in the front. Technically ZR20s. Star spec because they're BMW tires. You're also sporting these absolutely bonkers large carbon ceramic brake rotors with 6-piston calipers in the front and 4-piston calipers in the rear, it looks like. It must be. So before we get onto the inside, which you're obviously getting this little sneak peek, let's pop open this hood that is giant. Look at this as I lift it. It's got to be like at least a 5-foot long hood. You're greeted with a bunch of plastic. Now, under here, this thing is just an absolute monster. It's got to be undertuned a bit, or I should say underrated. I mean, it's rated at 617 horse, but my goodness, does it pull hard. This specific car pulled some really impressive test numbers at some of the other outlets. Testing facilities, and I can tell you it's been very strong for us as well. Big ol' Beamer nostrils. I like the 8 Series, I really do. I love the way it looks. I am a little bit partial to the Grand Coupe. It's just so much more usable, and I think even slightly cheaper. But that is not this. This is the Coupe. And I'll show you one of the main reasons that I prefer the Grand Coupe over the normal Coupe in the back. So as I twist and contort myself to fit back here, I am 5'10", but it does not matter because no one of full adult size is fitting comfortably back here. My head is plastered against the ceiling. I cannot even remotely sit upright. And if I were to try to put the seat back, my legs would just about get chopped off. Ugh. Fortunately, the seat self-adjusts where the knees kind of go, but I couldn't be back here for more than maybe 10, 15 minutes at max. I'd be leaned way forward. Honestly, maybe not even that. It's really bad. Really, really bad. It's pretty much kids only back here. I mean, look at that. And it's not actually the legroom and the knee room that's the issue, it's the headroom. I can't even sit back. My back would start to hurt quite quickly. So, this is essentially a 2-seat car with some room for luggage back there. And in that regard, it's plenty fine. And I take a look around here. I also don't understand, whoever configured this car, I'd like to have a word with them, because you got that bright Kermit green paint outside and then this tan on the inside. I don't mind either of those colors in general, but just configured like this together, it's just weird. It's just really weird. But you've got carbon fiber galore in here to go along with the carbon fiber roof. I do like BMW's new M shifter. It's nice to feel, looks good, pretty easy to operate. Other than that, it's kind of almost concerningly similar to just a base like $95,000 840i Coupe. I mean, the carbon fiber is different, but, and I guess the Bowers & Wilkins diamond speaker grills, which we do have a separate review of that system, link in the description. Other than that, kind of feels a little simple in here. So let's fire it up and experience what actually sets the M8 apart from its lowly brethren. So you can see here they did kind of change up how BMW M cars have their performance modes. We'll talk about it a bit on the road, but you've sort of got M mode that you can toggle for sport, track, or road, and then you can set that up all these different settings here. You have your engine, efficient, sport, sport plus, chassis, comfort, sport, sport plus, steering, comfort and sport, brakes, interestingly enough, comfort and sport, and then the X drive where you can do four-wheel drive sport, or the treacherous two-wheel drive mode, which we will maybe experiment with a bit on this test drive, but you really have to be careful because this thing will break loose in the rear just like that. Now right now I have it in a mode set up for myself, which is aggressive engine and calm everything else. I guess it's on the second highest shift setting because you can use this button here, have conservative shifts, mid-range, or aggressive shifts where it kind of holds the revs for you. So I'll have it in the middle here. There's so much torque, I feel like you can practically drive this thing around in 8th gear, daily driving. So I've spent a good amount of time in this car between the highway fuel economy test, which you can check out, link in the description. That's about an hour and a half of seat time, as well as the sound system test, and then just driving around and showing people the absurdity of it all and everything like that. And I just still, even from when I first got into it, even now, days later, I don't love this car. I know some of you are going to start being like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, nothing is incredible. I would do anything for that car. It's soulless. It doesn't really have charisma to it. Steering the car, it doesn't communicate with me. It's just kind of like I tell it to do things, and then a bunch of computers turn those communications from my hands and feet into ones and zeros, and then it pumps out into the steering wheel, or into the wheels and tires and drive shaft and all the components. There isn't a two-way communication going on. The car is able to be driven incredibly aggressively. I mean, there's grip for days. There's an amazing amount of power. I mean, just look at this. You can have fun, but it's like a prescribed fun. I feel like I'm driving on antidepressants. It's like, yeah, I'm having this much fun because my psychologist prescribed me this fun. I'm allowed to have this level, and after that, no more. right there, flying around that corner, it kind of felt like, okay, the car's going to allow me just this much slip angle, and then it's going to come right back in line with its four-wheel drive, and that's what we're going to do today. I will say, something that doesn't ever get old is launch control. We are going to do one of those right now. That's 100. Now we'll do a 60 to 0 stop. Hey, I found a piece to my GoPro that I lost. That's nifty. Even those pops and bangs from the exhaust, they sound good, but I know that they're all just prescribed in there. BMW engineers perfectly tuned those to make those silly little sounds, and it's cool. It just doesn't really feel raw. Up here at highway speeds, you know, for being a competition car, this thing can still be quite the highway cruiser. It's got semi-autonomous driving mode, so as we get into this corner here, I will show you that the car can pretty much drive itself. You just need to keep a hold of the wheel to let it know that you're still alive and kicking. So you can see I can leave my hands off, and then after about 5 seconds or so, a little yellow steering wheel starts flashing. And if I don't touch the wheel at all, and it's not pressure sensitive the way a lot of semi-autonomous driving features are. No, it's like a capacitive touch on the squishy parts of the steering wheel. Then it gets mad, you can touch it and it's happy again. It'll actually even switch lanes for you if you just turn the blinker on. It lost it right there because the road's crappy, but if you do tap the blinker, then it'll stay on, change your lanes when it's safe, and then turn the blinker back off. We've got everything in its most aggressive street setting right now. It's not that that level of speed gets old. I mean, it's still fun. It's just your body acclimates. And, you know, maybe this is me just being a little jaded at this point, but it's not thrilling. Even like a Shelby Mustang GT350 is a lot more exciting and raw to drive around aggressively than this thing is. I mean, I can probably do all this one-handed, full throttle, you know, switching lanes, other than shifting, because it's in manual mode. It's a very easy, approachable car, and because of that, it kind of takes away from its fun factor. And I know I'm going to get flamed and roasted in the comments, but I spent a significant amount of time in Mercedes-AMG's AMG GT63S, and that is a car that they still managed to bake in an element of passion and soul and character into. That's something that the M8, it has some character, but it just feels like it was like, yeah, I'm just here to collect my paycheck, and then I'm out. So I can demonstrate two-wheel drive mode. Select that, first gear. My goodness, does that light them up. Look at the rear view mirror. It's honestly super squirrely in two-wheel drive. Whenever I'm having fun in a car like this, I keep it in four-wheel drive sport, and I like BMW for their M dynamic mode, which sort of turns the stability control into a sporty mode, allows you to have some fun, kick the rear end out, but not completely lose it if you had, as though you had all the aids off. So, I know that I'm criticizing an amazing machine. It's truly, everything in here is very quality built. It's fast, it's efficient. I mean, this powertrain is just really incredible. Just the problem that I have with a lot of performance BMWs is they're so smooth these days. They're tuned to be luxury cars first. And because of that, they just kind of lose an element. I mean, if we're talking, yes, if this were just the normal M8 and the competition model existed but it weren't the competition and it was just kind of soft and a little wallowy and everything, okay, fine, I get it. Like, it's supposed to be a cruiser. But this is the competition. It's got a carbon fiber roof, for gosh sakes. You're paying 150 grand plus. It should be something that's really hardcore and really speaks to you. Feels like something that was built with some passion, and it just doesn't. So, if it were my money, I'd at least be getting the Grand Coupe, but I'd be picking Mercedes AMG GT63S any day of the week. I do think this looks a little better on the outside. I think that AMG GT can be a little bit, I don't know how to say it, just a little frumpy looking. I think this is one of the sexiest cars on sale today here in 2020, but I don't know. It just doesn't speak to me the way that other car does, and a lot of other performance type cars do. So, that is the verdict. The M8 competition is a no for me. Unfortunate, too, because I do love me some 8 Series. I think the ideal 8 Series is actually an M850i Grand Coupe. You get it just over $100,000. It's still bonkers fast, more space, still looks wonderful, but still much, much cheaper than this and a little bit smoother as well. So if you're going to have a smooth car anyway, might as well go more smooth and a lot less money than this kind of weird in between where it can totally roast the tires, way too much power, but then also not very hardcore. Anyway, feel free to tell me why I'm wrong in the comments section. If you want to see more on this gangrene machine, check out the links in the description for our audio test and our highway fuel economy real world test. Check out our other videos, hit that subscribe button, all that YouTube goodness. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.